What's up, Taiwan? I'm Fanny Chi with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Former Taiwan President Tsai is urging the Taiwanese community in Canada to continue supporting the country's bid to join the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, or CPTPP. Tsai is in Canada to attend a security forum. She was speaking at an event in Toronto organized by the local Taiwanese community. The former president said Taiwan has been a key player in the global supply chain. She also said joining the CPTPP would let Taiwan collaborate with more partners and boost regional prosperity. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin says the Indo-Pacific region is America's priority theater as he makes a historic visit to the Pacific island nation of Fiji.
You know, the Indo-Pacific is our priority theater, and strengthening our partnerships with Fiji and other Pacific Island countries is vital to a free and open Indo-Pacific.
Austin and Fiji's Prime Minister Sitiveni Rabuka announced a number of new security initiatives. These include an agreement on managing military personnel operating in foreign territories. Austin said there is no plan for a permanent U.S. military base in Fiji. The visit comes as the U.S. works to improve relations with Pacific Island nations amid tensions with China. Beijing is also working to increase its influence in the region through aid and security deals. Russian President Vladimir Putin says his country will keep testing a new type of hypersonic missile it calls Oreshnik after firing one at Ukraine on Thursday.
Добавлю, что противодействия такой ракете, средств ее перехвата на сегодняшний день в мире нет, не существует. И еще раз подчеркну, испытания новейшей системы мы будем продолжать.
In a televised speech, Putin said no one else in the world has a weapon like this missile yet, and said it traveled at 10 times the speed of sound. Russia's use of the missile comes after Ukraine began firing US and British-made missiles into Russia for the first time. In response, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is calling on allies to help bolster his country's air defenses. Taiwan is racing to boost its domestic drone industry, seeking to build models that can help defend against a potential Chinese attack. To this end, a drone design competition for university students is attempting to match knowledge with resources, Adil Bra reports.
The whizzing sound of drones at a university in southern Taiwan is a major attraction this month. These students in Tsai County are not working on a school project. Instead, they hope to play their part in defending the country. As China escalates its coercive activity across the Taiwan Strait, Taiwan is taking an all-of-society approach to boost its defense. Now, those efforts include a competition for university students to design unmanned aerial vehicles or drones.
台湾这个位置也可能会面临这个问题，所以我们想在这个主题上面去强化我们的无人机。那所以不管各部会都有投入资源，那我们这边是在国科会的指导下面，所以我们主要是在前瞻技术的提升。 所以希望我们这个前瞻技术提升能补足我们台湾无人机产业的缺口跟需求。
The National Defense Application UAV Challenge is now in its second year. Last month, 20 university teams went head-to-head in a battle of the drones. A winning drone design project could be acquired by Taiwan's defense companies and possibly end up in service down the road. Inspired by Ukraine's success in using drones in its war with Russia, Taiwan sees the technology as a key part of its asymmetrical warfare doctrine. Ukraine has developed drones as a lethal tool to take on a larger land army. But they have also been vulnerable to Russia's jamming attacks on the operator's signal. For that reason, this year's drone competition simulates a realistic battlefield scenario where jammers could cut the satellite signal to the unmanned vehicle.
战争的话，就国防应用那边的话，那可能在台湾这个地方，可能发展性会比较大一点。然后就想说，看到台湾有稍微就是有投入一些蛮庞大的资金，就是往国防方面去应用去砸，所以我就想说，我就跟着这趋势走。
Learning from the Ukrainian experience, these students have committed to developing drones to help Taiwan survive against an enemy with greater numbers and firepower. Conflict with China may not be imminent, but Taiwan is preparing for the day that everyone hopes will never arrive. Joseph Wu and Adil Brar for TaiwanPlus.
The misromanization of a Taiwanese indigenous baseball player's name during a Japanese broadcast of the Premier 12 has sparked a new conversation about indigenous naming conventions. Giligila Gongguan's name was spelled using a different method during an earlier game. Members of an indigenous activist group explained in a Facebook post that indigenous names often have special cultural meaning inherited from their family. They also wrote that indigenous people only got the right to use their romanized indigenous names on official documents in May. Before, they had to use Chinese characters. To learn more about indigenous naming conventions and the cultural importance of these names, Tiffany Wong spoke to Bing Jiang, the former director of the Austronesian Center at National Taidong University.
How common is it for indigenous people to use their indigenous names in Taiwan? Are they often mispronounced or ignored?
Nowadays, it's more common to run into somebody who use his traditional, quote-unquote, traditional name. Only those people who are more aware of their traditional culture and their name being changed into a Chinese-style name and care about this matter would change their name back to their traditional name. But there's still a problem of whether you use a Chinese character to pronounce your traditional name, or you pronounce your traditional name in the traditional language. For example, the baseball player Gilgilao should be pronounced in traditional Taiwan name, should be pronounced Gilgilao. Okay, but in Chinese, because he write his traditional name in Chinese character is Jili Jilao. Okay, so you will see that Gilgilao is definitely not similar to Jili Jilao. So Chinese, if for ordinary Chinese-speaking Taiwanese, if they want to pronounce his name, also pronounce wrongly. But that is a deeper linguistic problem.
This year, Taiwan passed amendments that allow indigenous people to use just their indigenous names on their ID cards without using a Chinese transliteration as well. But society and the media have been slow to pick up on using their traditional names. Do you see this as symbolic, or do you think it's a step forward?
It's a symbolic move on the part of the government, but this symbolic move is sort of effective. But even though nowadays it's more, people has more awareness about the so-called traditional indigenous culture and naming system and their right and how they suffer from the after World War II till 1980s. How they suffer their loss of their culture and loss of their names and their dignity. Okay, but nowadays it's of course it's a progress.
That was Bing Jiang, the former director of the Austronesian Center at National Taidong University. Taiwan's unemployment rate last month stood at just under 3.4%. It's the lowest level for October in 24 years. The figure was fractionally down on September's number. An official said Taiwan's labor market is moving in a positive direction. They said unemployment is expected to drop further in November and December as consumption reaches a peak at the end of the year. By comparison, unemployment in the US was at 4.1% in October, 6.5% in Canada, and 2.7% in South Korea. The Freedom Crossing Film Festival is opening at the Penn Museum in Philadelphia. It's an event supporting independent films and documentaries from Taiwan. To find out more about the works involved, I sat down with curator Minghua Xiao. Minghua, can you tell us about the origin of the festival? How did it all start?
The film festival, Freedom Crossing Film Festival, was started during the pandemic. And during the pandemic, we all have a deep concern about this full crisis of the whole humanity. And at that time, we were thinking about what we can do to help people to deliver their free spirit to reach out outside of the world when everybody was forced to stay inside. So at that time, we were thinking the spirit of freedom at that critical moment is the most important thing. So I started to create and creating the themes of life and death. And luckily, I find there are a lot of good documentaries and films in Taiwan that happen to care about those issues, about people's life. So I bring them over to the film festival. We totally bring 5 themes and 21 films. And they all made in Taiwan by the Taiwanese directors and the Taiwanese producers.
Among all the films featured at the festival, there is Untold Her Story. What makes this film special?
There are not too many stories about white terror area in Taiwan, and this one is definitely a significant one. Especially the films address the female experience for the prisoners in Green Island during the 1950s to 1970s. And this period of time is a very special time when Taiwan was under authoritarian government, and there were a lot of people who lose their freedom if they try to express their rights, their opinions, or if they were acting something disobeying the government's order. So Taiwan had experienced such a dark time, and then we overcome this history and transform our country to a liberal democracy. And right now we are confident enough to look back to the history at that time and to reflect that history through the individual and the personal experience, and to see those women as a person, not as a criminals or the prisoner.
You can watch the full interview with Minghua Xiao on Zoom in Zoom Out here on TaiwanPlus. An innovative exhibition that combines music and dance, art and technology to spread a vital message has opened in Taipei. Let's take a look. Channeling intense emotions through the piano, Lu Jiahui has curated an exhibition in Taipei to share a message with the world, what she describes as an immersive performance exhibition called Hope, Peace, Love.
我们看一下欧洲，它的那个战事未息，然后我们亚洲又有军事的紧张，所以我们感受到战争正在残害人类的生命、文化跟古迹，所以我们希望透过音乐、美术、无国界的力量，然后我们要传达我们的 message 出去，能够有一点善念跟正能量的循环回来。
The exhibition underwent months of planning and incorporates 7 different fields, including culture, music, dance, theater, and technology.
它其实就像女人怀孕10月才有办法生产，那她可能过程中还可能会流产，或者是她连受孕都有困难，所以我觉得每一次的创作跟跨界都是一个 challenge.
Other than working with talent from different fields, the audience plays a vital part in making Hope, Peace, Love a success.
我觉得我们台湾现在面临一个很危险的危机四伏的时刻，所以我就在我的那个钢琴附近，就是用蜡烛围成台湾岛，我们会有一个互动的仪式，会请所有的观众朋友加入我们来做一个默祷，为世界、为和平、为自己来祈祷。
The exhibition is open to the public on weekends through the end of the month. Its message, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope, peace, and love can still be found. Klein Wong and Sunny Chi for TaiwanPlus. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, we take you to France and Germany as both countries get their first snow of the winter season. I'm Sunny Chi, take care and see you next time.